Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Welcome to Keller.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Sawyer, do you see the WRE that I'm on the screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. I never know which thing I'm supposed to share, so it's always a crapshoot as to whether or not I get it. So,
You're right, right.
right. Well, how are you? How long have you been in real estate?
I've been in real estate for about a year and a half now.
Oh, nice.
So just still kind of learning everything, all the
Yep.
tricks to the trade. So
Nope, it's a good business, so it's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
It's
for
good.
sure. I definitely enjoy it, that's for sure.
No, it is good. It's great. And you'll have lots of opportunity here. We always get a lot of posts on Facebook of, hey, where's our Wisconsin agents? So there'll be lots of opportunities there too
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, I'm definitely excited for the change, that's for sure.
Yeah, I saw that you were with Compass.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I was with Compass, since I started, but Allison's kind of the one that got me into real estate.
Okay.
And then I just needed a change. I needed a firm that had a little bit more education behind their agents. So
Nope. True story. Well, you're at the right place because that's what
yeah,
we focus on.
yeah, that's what I've heard from many people from for Keller Williams. So I
Yeah.
was like, well, and I know Jared. He
Yep.
actually sold my parents' house. Like,
I know. I used to sit open houses when you guys were there on, what was it, County
yeah,
Road C? I used to hold
yeah,
open houses there. So
yeah,
yeah, I know
yep.
your dad, and I'm really good friends with Jake and Kelsey, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
we have a very small world wrapping around
yeah,
us. So,
yeah, that's true.
yep,
Yeah, I guess I never knew that.
yeah. Hey, Bob, how are you? Well, today was going to be a little bit informal. We've recently gone over a whole bunch of forms classes, and then we've briefly touched on continuing education as well as license renewal. So today I thought we'd keep it a little informal and just kind of make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
Yep. So with all of the changes, we haven't seen a lot of hiccups here in Wisconsin because we're already kind of doing what we needed to do when it came to the change. It's just been living without the MLS compensation and how does that look? So there's been a few things that have come up, which is why I wanted to go over the legal hotline um, with some of the questions that have come up. And this one is just simply saying the seller, is not sure what they want to pay out. They want to just put it in the offer as concessions. But just the biggest thing to take away is you can go ahead and ask for your compensation on the offer. It's a great way to do it. Just note that when the seller says, I'm offering $10,000 in concessions, and that's it, that covers closing costs, the buyer broker, and we can't dictate how those concessions get paid out. Only the seller can. So let's say we have that offer. The seller says, I'm going to pay out 10,000. The buyer says, great, pay my agent 2.4%, and I want 6,000 in closing. Well, that's going to be well over the $10,000 allotment that the seller has gone ahead and said, I'll pay that out. So just note that the seller will dictate what gets paid. The agents have no say in it whatsoever. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Good. How about you, Bob? Does that make sense? I see he's here. I just don't know if he can hear us. And Sawyer, you have your own zip form account, correct? Hey, there he is.
Yes, I have my own login and everything.
Nope,
Just
that's
don't
great.
know, does that just change over?
Yeah, it follows you. Since you're part of the WWRA, it follows you. Because some of the questions that we have is some of our Minnesota agents go ahead and share one zip form account. But you have your own, so you'll never have to jump into the pool. Because the
Perfect.
pool is not friendly right now. It's a big mess in there, and we're trying to go ahead and clean it up.
Gotcha.
So a couple of questions have come up with that zip forms is how do we get the DocuSign to work in it? If you're using the zip form pool, you should not be using the DocuSign. You have DocuSign attached to your command. That's where you'd want to use it. Now, Sawyer, you can go ahead and use DocuSign on yours because yours is alone
Okay,
and it'll go to you. We don't always know where the pool DocuSign goes. A lot of
Okay.
times what I've been hearing is it goes to Aiden, and she's great. But she also doesn't need to get everybody's emails either.
right,
Yeah. So if you have anything under contract that was written prior to August 15th, so you're on the old form, all your closings will need the compensation disclosure. This can be signed at closing. It doesn't have to be like a hurry up, get it in there, but we will need it for the file to go ahead and be compliant.
okay,
And let's see. Hopefully you saw that I swept over to zip forms.
yep.
Okay, good. Yay, I did it right this time. All right, so it's not the compensation agreement, it's the compensation disclosure. And this quite literally just is saying that they understand that a payment would have to be made.
Okay,
So for buyers, they don't have to do anything. They just read it, sign it, and date it. For sellers, you just reiterate what has been discussed. So if it's 6% of a total sales price, 6% of a final sales price, plus whatever broker commission you're charging, that's what you would put there. Exactly what you have on your listing contract is what would go here. So it's just reiterating that they fully understand that these compensations are being paid out.
okay,
It's not a form that we're going to have to use for very long. It's very much a temporary form. It's only for our contracts that were written prior to August 15th on the older forms. As
perfect,
soon as we're through all of this, this form will be redundant. We won't need it any longer.
gotcha, okay. Yeah, and I won't have to worry about it, cause I don't have anything before
Awesome.
that, or anything right now at all, so.
Good, good. Hi, Brian. How are you?
Oh, sorry, forgot I was muted. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, good. So we were just going over the compensation disclosure. Any questions for you on that?
Nope. But I heard
Awesome.
that this was a form that's gonna be obsolete soon, so
Yeah, it's a tough one because we don't necessarily. It's a tough one for Wisconsin because it's already been so specific on our contracts in the first place. So it's a little bit of a redundancy form. I
mhm,
like to think of this as the knee-jerk reaction to the lawsuit because there's nothing on here that's surprising. We just need it. They want us to go ahead and utilize this until we get all the way through our old forms. So
yep. And when is Wisconsin coming out with new forms?
they're already out. They're already
They are.
part of zip forms. If you're in the group zip forms. I've already switched all the templates over. And I'm still working on cleaning it up because wow, it's a mess. But with that, with the group zip forms, you guys all know that with your command and your opportunities that you already have a personal DocuSign account, correct?
Yep,
Okay, good. Because when we go ahead and send it through zip forms, if you don't have your own zip forms, it is either going to the front desk or Aiden Mains or sometimes Jared. So we just go ahead and you're using the, don't use the DocuSign that's associated with zip forms. Use the DocuSign that's associated with command. It'll make your life a lot easier. Yeah. All right, CE is coming. December is right around the corner. We're in the Burr month. So has everybody got, I know Bob, you got your CE done. Is everybody else completed with your CE?
Yep, I finished mine as well.
Good, good. Well, if you haven't, there's plenty of opportunities. I sent out an email a couple weeks ago with an opportunity to go to a golf course and take it through the WWRA. When you go to renew your license, that doesn't open until November. It should send you an email. I am going to email everybody out once it opens and then have Hannah send out the text as well, just in case. Because if you're like my email, all of a sudden you have 1,500 emails and it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. So I'll see if Hannah can go ahead and send out a group text as well. Do you guys have any questions on what you're seeing in Wisconsin real estate right now?
I guess the biggest question I have is, I'm a little confused on the compensation part.
Sure. Yep.
Like how we fill that out, I guess that's really what I'm asking is that. I know that our buyer agencies, we've always had to fill it out anyways.
Absolutely. We've always had that conversation that says, hey, buyer, this is what I earn. And if the seller doesn't pay it out, this is what you'll owe me. And
Okay.
that stays the same.
Okay,
For listings is added the compensation as well as the concessions. So if you're doing business as usual and doing the listing contract and you're still saying, hey, it's 6% and I want to pay out a buyer's agent 2.4, all of that is exactly the same.
okay,
It's where we get into the concessions that makes it a little bit weird because like we were just talking about, we can't dictate where those concessions go. Only the seller can.
Okay.
So when you're writing an offer, typically what we would say is send an email, send a text because you want it in writing. Are you offering a compensation? And if they say, yep, we're offering a 2.4% co-broke compensation, great, then you write the offer as normal.
okay,
If they're like, nope, we're not offering compensation, then you have that conversation with your buyer. You put it on the contract and let them know we're still going to ask for it, but just know this might be something that you have to go ahead and negotiate with your lender on how we're going to put it into your loan.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and there are a lot of Wisconsin agents right now who are saying just put it in the offer. They don't even want to mess with the compensation agreement.
Gotcha.
And Sawyer, I'll send you the templates I sent out to everybody,
Okay.
which has a compensation agreement filled out on
Perfect.
what it should look like. I have seen a few compensation agreements that have made me, it gave me pause. Signatures were everywhere. I think they might have had a computer glitch because there was 14 signatures where only 2 were needed. So I think someone had a glitch.
Yeah,
But I will send that out to you.
okay,
So that's easy. And if you need some additional training, I'm always available. I'm right here in New Richmond.
okay,
So I'm close by.
perfect.
And that goes for the same for all of you guys. If you want extra help, sorry, I was just reading the message from Bob. Got it.
Yeah,
if you guys need extra help, I'm here for you. Or if you're like, hey, I don't write that many contracts, when I'm ready to write another one, can we go over it together? Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
All right. Let's go back to the WRA and see what kind of struggles our kids are having. Have you guys ever gone on the legal hotline? It is like my favorite place to go. I don't know. I just enjoy it. All right. This is the one that we were just talking about where it says that we can't dictate, the firms cannot dictate where those concessions go. Let's see. Here we go. An agent is showing a property for the first time since the new rules. She's filling out a pre-agency showing agreement. Does she need to have the buyer sign one of these for each of the properties she shows that buyer? Short answer is no. That pre-agency is a pre-agency. You can go ahead and charge folks if you want. You can say $50 per showing. You can say however many dollars per hour, but just note that that Wisconsin pre-agency is not, you're not forming a client relationship. They're still customers at this point. How you go ahead and bill these things out, if you're going to use a pre-agency, I would just have them sign the buyer agency agreement, save yourself some time, because they're going to have to sign it if you write an offer anyways.
Yeah.
But if you do decide to use the pre-agency and you're going to charge them money, get the money up front, because we don't know how you could possibly bill for this and then what it looks like for us to go ahead and collect those funds. Now again, you don't have to charge, you can, but we also want to make sure that your time is valuable. So a pre-agency can get you through the door quickly. If they're like, let's just go today, I'll sign the buyer agency, but let's just go. This would be a short way to go ahead and get that done. So here's a good one. It says the payment of compensation on the offer. You cannot use that box unless you are in a client relationship with the buyer. If you're writing the offer as a customer, remember you are the agent of the seller, not the buyer, and you would not be able to use that compensation box. Does that make sense? We have to make sure that we're under contract in order to go ahead and use that box.
And if we're not, how do we?
Then you have to have a conversation. Now it could work out in your benefit where the listing agent saying, yeah, we're offering compensation. If they're not offering compensation, you'll have to find a way to go ahead and get that buyer to pay you. And that's where that pre-agency would be able to go ahead and dictate the term as well.
Gotcha.
All right. Woo. All right. So for sale by owners, this whole change for us in Wisconsin, and I'm sure in Minnesota too, it's probably making it, for us, it's been making it way easier having compensation right on the contract. It takes away the single listing, the single showing listing, or however we were doing it before when we were dealing with for sale by owners, because now we are just speaking to the seller directly on the contract. So no additional forms beyond the disclosure to customer. That's still mandatory if you're dealing with a for sale by owner. You still want them to go ahead and sign that they understand that they're not being represented, that they're just a customer. And then the offer. That's it. So if you're dealing with for sale by owner, it's actually made life a lot easier. Any other questions that you've been seeing in Wisconsin real estate? Any questions in general? Any classes you guys would like to see? We've gone through the forms and I don't want to just keep pounding forms down your throats if you don't need them. What would you guys like to see for classes?
I guess that's one main one for me is just the forms right now,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure those out and how to fill them out and stuff like that.
Yep. Bob, Brian, anything that you would like to see on the Wisconsin side?
Honestly, I do so little business in Wisconsin that, you know, I'll be that problem child that calls you when I'm actually doing a deal. You know, that just, yeah, I do it so infrequent that I can't really think of any particular topics that, you know. I can,
Yep.
would necessarily want, so.
Nope, that's all right. I mean, we can keep doing farms. Nothing gives me more joy in this real estate world than working with the farms. That's my favorite. I adore them. I enjoy talking about them.
Well, it certainly makes your curriculum each week easy then.
Yeah, and then we can always slow it down too. I tend to get through the classes quickly because I don't want to waste your guys' time by talking about nothing that's important to you. So hold on one second. Nothing on forms, but if an agreement is signed without compensation from seller to buyer, yes, you can go ahead and amend your buyer agencies at any time. Wisconsin actually has an amendment specifically for your buyer agency, just like they do for your listing contracts. You can go ahead and amend them at any time. Good. Good. Well, then, how about for October? We'll start on the listing side again, and we'll just start taking them little by little. So some things to look out for as you're practicing, because I've been seeing a couple things as I go through and review files. The real estate condition report. This is a really big one. They made changes to it. And I don't think that we're fully explaining it well enough to our sellers in general, not Keller Williams Select, but I think in general. All of the boxes must be checked. It's not considered disclosed unless the form is filled out completely. From the top line to the seller signature, everything must be put in place. The date that they filled it out, they go ahead and put it in there. One of the hard things about this real estate condition report is they always ask us, hey, can you help me fill this out? No, you cannot. The advice you can give them is it's okay to not know. If you don't recognize it, that's okay. It's probably a no. A lot of them, when you get down to the last section, starts dealing with riparian rights. Unless you live on water, you're not going to know what that is. So it's completely okay to not know the answer to that question. So it could be not applicable or no. It's okay. It's to the best of their knowledge, but it must be filled out completely. And it's not considered done unless it's completely done. So you go back and you look at the real estate condition report and your buyer signs it and there's missing 3 boxes. It's technically not delivered because it's not been completely disclosed. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep. So now when you think about that in that spectrum, that 10-day time frame has started since the first day of the signed contract. So they have 10 days to go ahead and give you a completed one. Even if you signed the incomplete one, that 10 days is still ticking. And they don't deliver it to you. And all of a sudden your buyer goes, they haven't fixed it. They haven't filled it out. I want out. Well, now they have a 2-day rescission period into which they could go ahead and leave that contract completely. The same thing goes like when you're under contract and you get a real estate condition report, you go through all of it and all of a sudden they say, oops, we have to amend that real estate condition report. So they send you an amendment to the real estate condition report to go ahead and sign. It starts that rescission period clock again. That means your buyer has 2 days again to decide whether or not they want to go ahead and continue with that contract. If they've decided when they see the amended real estate condition report that they don't want to leave, they can go ahead and issue a cancellation and they're entitled to their earnest money. Listing people, we need to make sure that we're very aware of that. So if we need to disclose something in writing and we're under contract, send an email. Do not amend the real estate condition report because you open it up for the buyer being able to walk away. Kind of a little backdoor, I want to get out or I want to ditch my buyer. But not a lot of people are aware of that when they send that out, that it opens that rescission period back up again. Any questions on that? No? Cool.
Hey Becky, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
If you still have that email with the link for the continuing ed to the association, would you mind sending that back out to me?
Yeah, I
just
sure
do a
can.
search and I cannot find it in my email.
Yep, I will send it out to you. Do you need the one? I'll send them both to you. It'd have been like Wisconsin continuing, it would have been Wisconsin CE and Wisconsin CE part 2. So I'll forward them both to you.
Yeah, thank you. I haven't done anything for Wisconsin, so I need to do the whole
Yeah.
18 hours.
Well, if you like to do it in person, the WWRA has a thing where you could register. It might be too late for that. However, if you are like, I just want to take it on my computer, I highly
Mhm.
recommend WRA.org. Here we're on there. When you look at it, you don't have to be a part of the WRA to go ahead and take this. You just get a cheaper price if you are. So
Right.
if you need just Wisconsin, you can choose Wisconsin. If you want to do dual, you can. And because it is 18 hours, you'll only have to do next year for Minnesota, the required module.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
up to
awesome.
you, whichever one you want to go ahead and take. But I highly recommend this. Now, if you take the dual, it is seat time required. If you just do regular Wisconsin, there is no seat time and you could blow through all of your CE in one day, even though it's technically 18 hours. We don't require seat time. That's just a Minnesota thing.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're just there at 30 minutes. Any of you guys got anything else? Anything you want to chat about? If not, we can cut you loose and we'll start on listings in October.
Perfect.
Well, thank you, Becky.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Bob.